Tell us about yourself, and then Mike Norris over here.
Mr. Haven, all you.
Well, I retired, sold my company a couple of years ago, and was looking for something to do. And influencing the culture in a positive way was something that I felt I had a duty to do. And, you know, people don't take the time. They're busy. They don't want to watch the news or really invest in reading about what's going on. But they like to be entertained. And if you can entertain people while you teach them something, I just thought it was a great idea. And Mike and I have been friends for a long time. And Mike is a real famous movie director who's done about 20 different films. And so I came to him one day and said, hey, I got a great idea. You know, let's make some movies together and let's influence the culture in a positive way while we entertain people. And the first movie we made was, it's out and it's available now. It's called Mission Air. And you can go and find out information about that from PureFlix, which was the distributor for God's Not Dead, for example. Go to the website and in Christian bookstores, and you can get Mission
And by
Air.
the way, these Christian films now are bigger than a lot of Hollywood films. I mean, The Passion of the Christ is an example.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, Gary. There's a number of films that were released this year with a faith-based message that have done phenomenal. So it's really great to see the culture actually starting to change and view this material that we're putting out. So it's very exciting.
It's voting with your dollars. I mean, this is how you really change the culture.
Absolutely. But it wasn't until about 9 months ago that Gary had this idea for another film that really kind of ramped everything up to a whole nother level, and that's our next film, Amerigeddon.
Now, Gary Haven, I should have gone over your bio a little bit better and not butchered your name here live on radio, but getting to know you has just really been amazing. Your insight into government, all the people you've been talking to federally and at the state level, you've learned a lot of amazing stuff. And it's wild to know the plot of your upcoming film that's already been shot is now being edited, to see that then it ties into Jade Helm and it ties into this very theme that America is so concerned about.
Yeah, Amerigeddon was an idea that I had. I felt that people needed to learn about power and about what was going on in the world. The mainstream media is owned 98% of it by 6 corporations. They're scripted. They stay on message. And so people are not getting the truth out there. And Alex, I want to commend you. You are a...
Oh, please don't.
No, I tell you, the courage and also your gift to articulate these difficult concepts, things like vaccinations you were talking about earlier. You know, people are not going to get the truth from the mainstream media. Do you know how much money the pharmaceutical companies spend on mainstream media? And to think that they don't control the message with all that money would be naive. So someone like you can articulate it beautifully in a way people can understand.
Well, you can do it better than I. In fact, your degree is in health. Why don't you give us your take on vaccines? You were just telling me about them earlier.
Well, vaccines are a very concerning thing. And I have a 5-month-old granddaughter, you know, and at 2 months, this 8-pound child was scheduled to get this cocktail of vaccines, whooping cough among them. It's something that is really concerning. What's in these vaccines? You know, do they have mercury? Do they have aluminum? Do they have the material of the tissue the vaccines were grown on from rhesus monkeys? That DNA is in these vaccines. You know, I'm not saying don't get vaccines, but I'm saying think about it. Think critically before you allow the establishment to inject into the vein of your 8-pound child a cocktail of vaccines. People need to take responsibility for themselves. They need to think about it because the system has been monetized. And so vaccines is a great example of the need for Americans, for people like us, to just think critically.
Let's talk about the new film that's in production, when it's coming out, as much as you can tell us about it, the title.
Well, what we can tell you now is film's called Amerigeddon. We're looking for about a November release date. We are in post-production right now. Gosh, I wish we had a clip to show. Maybe,
yeah, a good clip that might include one of the stars of the show who might be sitting here with us here today.
Do we have a clip?
Let's see if we've got that clip available.
Oh, wait, you guys are surprising me. I didn't even know this is Mr. Gray, that we don't know what you're up to. Stockpiling food, weapons, fuel. The National Defense Authorization Act is there to stop domestic terrorists, threats to this country, and people like you.
I am an American. I am a patriot. You, sir, are nothing but a traitor.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. That man's a threat to this country.
That little rant will be all over the news tonight.
You must understand, this plays into our hands. The American news media has our narrative. And in that narrative, Charlie Gray is perfectly playing the role of right-wing extremist. The stigma of that label will stop up the ears of the American public faster than any propaganda we could fashion.
By the way, you guys, we didn't plan any of this. And I just can't believe that you guys snuck that in. It's so good. That looks better than the big, giant blockbuster movies. I wish I could have lighting like that for my show. Man, that looks good. And it sounds good.
Yeah. You know, after you guys called and invited us on, Mr. Haven says, get a clip together. And I go, yes, sir. And so we just kind of put that together just to give the audience a little feel of, you know, the bad politicians, the bad guy, and our hero in the movie.
Well, folks, if you just joined us, we have with us two amazing individuals, Mike Norris and Gary Haven, in studio, and the new film is coming out in November. And, of course, it'll be in quite a few theaters. If it becomes a hit in theaters, it'll then go nationwide into thousands of screens. If something like this, and believe me, I've seen the script, I've been in the movie, gets out to the public with this whole climate, I mean, could you guys have imagined we'd be talking about Jade Helm and all this right when your movie's getting ready to come out?
Yeah.
Because for folks who don't know, we don't give the plot away.
Yeah, we'll tell a little bit about the kind of the theme of it. You know, I saw this coming and felt like we needed to warn people. We need to educate them while we entertain them, and it was kind of consistent with our message. So we went from the Christian movie to the political realm. And by the way, you play an evil senator who is debating with me in front of a Senate hearing, and you were particularly evil.
Well, I tell you, you guys were going to have somebody else play the role, and I guess you moved to another position. And about 2 weeks before, you said, hey, do you want to do this? I said, sure. And then, like about 4 or 5 days before, I get the script that had been changed, and I think I did an okay job, but not as good as you guys did. I tell you.
You really are good. I mean, just the dynamics of the both of you. We're all on the same side here. But what's fun is to go into a movie and you get to play a crooked politician.
Well, I tell you, after we did about 10 takes of that, I started really not liking Gary. It was weird. It was weird.
Well, it was actually 14 takes, Alex.
Wow.
There's a lot of footage.
Wow.
And when this is all over, we'll pull out the fun footage and we'll just have a little party together.
Oh, my gosh. It's amazing. Listen, I want to come back from break here in a moment and get back into the film. But give us a sneak peek. Gary, how much of this can we get into?
Well, the movie's based, kind of the byline is a true story that hasn't happened yet. And we're really seeing that play out right now. One of the scenes, for example, in fact, with you, was a take from a conversation I had with my congressman, where I challenged him why he voted for the National Defense Authorization Act. And I said to him, do you realize it suspends the Fifth Amendment?
Hold on, you told me this story over dinner. It was amazing. We're going to come back, tell this story, the inside baseball of this, because you wanted to make this film, from what you told me, because you kept going around warning people and then getting this response. Yeah. Wow, it's amazing. And then coming up, we're going to get into Chuck Norris, Steve McQueen, all your latest films. Mike Norris is here. That's right, the son of Chuck Norris. That's like royalty. That is so incredibly professional. Gary Haven and Mike Norris. And then I want to get into the Steve McQueen stories. Because I'm a big Chuck Norris fan. Watching him as a kid, but more so his politics, being a real constitutionalist, a big fan of 1776, a big supporter of George Washington, reading his columns in WorldNetDaily.com in the last decade or so, however long it's been, have made me really get into the mind of Chuck Norris and see what a one-of-a-kind guy he is. And then to meet his son, who's a listener and a patriot as well, and then to meet Gary, and then the stories you told me about people in government who are awake, people that aren't, telling me what a real deal Governor Abbott is as well. But I've talked to a lot of folks that know him, that have worked for him before he was even in government. They say he's a real Christian man, a great guy, really cares. He's suing the government over the power plant shutdowns. He's fighting to secure our border. I think we're really lucky to have him as a governor. I'm just giving a prelude. This is a short segment to what we're going to be talking about today. But listen, don't pause for me. I mean, I loved having that 2-hour dinner with you guys where you were just stream of consciousness. You're the guys that need a radio show fighting the New World Order. But hell, you've got movies fighting the New World Order. Let's get back. Because when we come back from break, we're going to play that clip again. I got blindsided by that. I want to see that again. Tell us about the new film, how people support it, and more of the plot. Because when they hear the plot and understand, this is not a B movie, folks. I mean, you spent big money on this. You know, you've got hundreds of millions of dollars. You spent a lot of money on this. You got an incredible director. And Mike, I've seen a lot of your films, and they're powerful because, you know, my kids mainly watch Christian films, and you're one of the top directors. But my gosh, you knocked it. I mean, what? That looks better than Steven Spielberg movies when they show Congress. How did you do that?
Right here. Gary, you know, I do not take lightly anything that Gary asks of me. I have so much respect for Gary and his wife Diane that when this challenge was brought on to do this film, I was in, let's do it. But boy, I had no idea what I was getting into. Once production started, things were happening left and right and decisions having to be made. And for this film to come out the way it did with the message that it's presenting, I agree with Gary. This is a God thing, that this is happening to get out, to get people to open their eyes to what's really happening in the world. We need this alternative media. And you were talking about my father. Well, the first thing he told me, tell Alex, I said, hi, I'm a huge fan. So just really excited about Amerigeddon.
Absolutely. Shifting gears, we're going to come back and talk more about Amerigeddon and how people can support it and make this an international huge hit that it needs to be to really educate people, because we're dominating news media. The Liberty Movement is able to counter CNN, MSNBC, but the real brainwashing, as you guys were saying during the break, is in the music, is in Hollywood, is in the culture. That's where they're really getting everybody. And the fact that more and more, not just Christian, but patriot film could become the new mega genre that could basically unseat this and counter their narrative, and people are hungry for it. So it's not like we're pushing a boulder uphill. We're at the top of a hill about to push it downhill at the globalists, in my view.
I agree 100%. And I really have to, once again, hand it to Gary. Personally, I wouldn't have been bold enough on my own to make this film at that time. But with Gary saying, this is what we're going to do, this is the money we've got to make it, let's go get this done. I jumped in both feet. And like I said, it was a tough shoot. Getting this cast together, getting you involved in it.
By the way, talk about the cast. You've got some huge people in this.
It's an interesting, eclectic cast. We have Diane Ladd, 3-time Academy Award nominated actress. She was an Easy Rider, Chinatown. Anna Lynn McCord, Dina Meyer, Alex Jones.
Oh, come on. No.
No, but it really was perfect, because I just had this idea. I go, gosh, and I'm a listener. I'm a patriot. I mean, every night, Infowars.com, that is what I listen to all night long.
Nice to put up with it, my God.
Yeah, I go to Infowars. So to have you play such an evil character, I just thought I loved it, and you were great.
It was kind of fun to try to get in that mindset of just ridiculing and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it was beautiful.
We're going to come back, play the intro, get into that, and then, gentlemen, I'm putting it on autopilot. I mean, I want to go back to that Mexican food restaurant, and, you know, I want to just talk about the politics and then look at Jade Helm, and then we're going to get in the next hour into the really juicy stuff, because let me tell you, a lot of stuff you were telling me is not known about Chuck Norris.
Nothing. None of it.
I hope he doesn't come get us.
No, it's all good stuff. Mike, that's the best.
I am a patriot. You, sir, are nothing but a traitor.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. That man's a threat to this country.
That little rant will be all over the news tonight.
You must must understand this plays into our hands. The American news